The Premier League is finished. Everyone's watch has ended and we shall never see their like again for a few months. What's up? I'm Adrian and welcome to the weekend recap from Rabona TV. Typically we do the top 4 leagues, add a bonus league in there as well, but with leagues all finishing at weird times now, at different times I should say, we kind of mix it all up anyway and just try to spread the love around. Also, this series is always brought to you by the good people over at OneFootball. OneFootball provides the best app in the game that features customizable news feeds, live match tickers, highlights, interesting articles, and so much more. So, use the link in the description for a free download on iOS or Android. Twitter for Android here. And so, for the second consecutive season, Manchester City are the champions of the Premier League, but my God, was it ever close, as they finished on 98 points to Liverpool's 97. Before we talk about the madness of this season though, Liverpool faced Wolves at home and won 2-0 thanks to a brace from Sadio Mane, while City went away to Brighton, who will live another season in the Premier League, and won comfortably with a score of 4-1. For Liverpool though, they accumulated enough points that would have otherwise have seen them crowned as champions in nearly every other Premier League season, in this Premier League era, obviously, finishing their campaign with just one loss. God, that makes it all the harder to stomach, I'm sure, for the Liverpool fans that have been waiting a full 30 years now. They get an incredible team, and they still can't win it. During the season, when they were as close to perfection as you could be, with just one loss, there was another team out there that lost more matches than them, but won more as well, with Liverpool's 7 draws being their undoing. All the while, the tail end of their season saw them go undefeated in 17, winning their final 9 straight. Ridiculous numbers here. We haven't seen 2 teams this good ever, maybe. That said, they have improved all over the pitch and you'd expect them to be even stronger in the next season, as I can't really foresee any Liverpool players wanting to leave this club. The 2 Champions League finals being a testament to their standing in Europe at this moment. For City, wow, this is a team that lost 4 times in the league. Impressive. And came close to hitting 100 points once again, just 2 points away. And their mission in order to secure the title was insane. They were behind Liverpool by 7 points at one point and went on to win every single match for 14 matches running. How's that for closing out your mission in style? You know, all they had to do was be perfect. As if that's not a tall order. 14 wins straight. That was what was needed in order to beat Liverpool to the title. On top of that, the closeness of this title race was illustrated perfectly with Liverpool's non-goal in their match back in January that did not cross the line and led to many Liverpool fans placing distrust in the eagle-eye goal line technology. Then there was the opposite of that, where City did indeed find a winner against Burnley, I believe it was, by a matter of millimeters, thanks to goal line technology. Then, of course, just a week ago, Vincent Kompany scored his first ever goal from outside the box with a strike that he's only ever shown off on the training pitches in his now 16 years of professional football. A moment like that, while it didn't clinch the title for City, it basically will be referred to as the title-winning strike, which is perhaps disrespectful to Brighton, but you can't begrudge Kompany and City of that. Liverpool had their great escapes as well to stay in the title race. The wins against Everton, Tottenham, and Newcastle, among others. Both teams still have a final trophy to play for, the Champions League for Liverpool and the shot at making it a domestic treble for City in the FA Cup final. And to be honest with you, I'm already looking forward to the title race next season, because if they both continue at their current trajectories, we could have some heavyweight battles for years to come. Now the question is, who's going to challenge these two? You know, if Spurs get some investments in there, could be them. Okay, just a quick look around the rest of the Prem. Manchester United lost 2-0 at home to Cardiff, the already relegated side, which was perhaps one final blow of retribution from the team that Ole relegated in the past. I'm joking, but it's wild, no? This United team can't even beat the relegation-bound teams all of a sudden. They managed just 2 wins in their final 10 matches and finished winless in their final 5 matches just in the Premier League. Also, this was the furthest from the top that they have finished since 1975, 32 points off the leaders. And 1975 was the season in which they had just been promoted back into the top flight in England. Arsenal got a 3-1 win away to Burnley, and with Aubameyang scoring a brace alongside Mane on the final weekend, it means that we have a 3-way tie for the Golden Boot. Throw Salah into the mix as well, and you get the 3 of them, all on 22 goals for this season, and all 3 out of Africa. Tottenham and Everton played out to a 2-2 draw. Chelsea and Leicester also finished 2-2, etc, etc. So your Premier League table looks like this in the end. City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Spurs round out the top 4, while at the bottom, of course, Cardiff, Huddersfield, and Fulham all perished. Well, well, well. In the Eredivisie, it's looking all but wrapped up there. Ajax played at home to FC Utrecht in hopes of rebounding from their tragic Champions League exit. The goals came from Van de Beek and Huntelaar before Dusan Tadic scored a late brace to take his tally up to a stunning 26 in the league. He's now just 2 goals behind Luuk de Jong with 1 match remaining. I really didn't think that he would catch up to him. He was 4 behind de Jong, but all of a sudden, who knows? Speaking of de Jong, by the way, despite his team PSV hassling and harrying, away to AZ Alkmaar, they could not find a winner. In fact, AZ could have had a couple more goals had the post not saved the day for PSV. PSV did come close in the 72nd minute when AZ winger Albert Gudmundsson cleared an attempt off of the line, but that was all that she wrote in that match, with AZ getting the 1-0 win and virtually handing the title over to Ajax. Ajax now have a 3-point lead, as you can see, and they have a 14-goal swing in their favor as far as the goal difference goes. So, while the title isn't officially Ajax's just yet, it's pretty much theirs. They would have to lose by 7 or 8 goals, and PSV would have to win by that same margin, and that just won't happen, as Ajax are playing against 17th place De Graafschap, who caused them problems at the end of last season, but the title race isn't close enough for them to do that again, realistically. I mean, after what happened this past week, who knows, man? Quick stop in Italy just to fill you in on the battle for the top 4. And first off, I gotta apologize to Claudio Ranieri, who I thought was done and dusted as far as his top flight career goes, and while I personally wouldn't maybe trust him to guide my club or a top club to a championship once again in any of the top 4 leagues, he's putting in some good work and getting some good results for Roma. They're now unbeaten in their last 7 matches and have surged up into contention for the top 4 after they're bouncing around in the 7th, 8th region for a while. Who do they beat this week? The dead men that make up Juve right now. These guys look hollow, absolutely hollow, and still don't seem to have a plan when they're playing. They had decent moments when Ronaldo would surge into the box with the ball or when Dybala hit the post, but for the most part, it was all the same old same from Juve. All possession and no real plan or bite, or at least it seems like that from the outside. I don't know. I haven't seen anything from Juve that's got me excited this season. That midfield of Pjanic, Can, Matuidi, and Cuadrado is pretty weak, and late in the match, Roma finally started taking their chances as the midfield and defense of Juve started leaking them. In fact, Juve didn't even generate a shot themselves past the 66th minute. That team needs revolutionizing. They have the good old boys that rule the roost for far too long, and they need to bring in legit talent. I'm not interested, and hopefully for their fans' sake, they can find a way to make themselves interesting again, but I think that requires some new ideas for a new brand of football, aka a new manager. Bring back Conte. Why not? By the way, the one time that they did excite me was against Atletico. That second leg was brilliant. Okay, longer than a quick stop, I guess, because I started ranting about Juventus, but we'll carry on. The other teams competing for the top 4, let's hit it. And I'll go over the points situation at the end, of course, so you can actually visualize it. Lazio have almost fallen out of the race for 4th, but they ended up getting a 2-1 win away to Cagliari, so with 2 matches remaining, they're still in it. AC Milan went away to the Artemio Franchi to take on a terrible, floundering Fiorentina side that is really having a tough time these days. Sad to see them in 13th right now. So, as you'd expect, Milan managed to get the win on the road, with Hakan Çalhanoğlu getting on the end of a Suso cross to flick it past Lafont. Big win for Milan, but for Fiorentina, that's now 12 matches in which they haven't won a single game and 4 straight losses. Keep in mind, they are only 5 points above the relegation zone. Inter plays today, so we have nothing to say about them currently, but Atalanta got an important 2-1 victory that temporarily put them into 3rd place now. What an incredible season the boys from Bergamo are having. They, of course, will also be playing for the Coppa Italia against Lazio this Wednesday, so their solid season can get even better. Their final match of the season will be up against Juve, though, so if they want to clinch that 4th place, it's not going to be easy. And so the table looks like this with 2 matches remaining. Napoli cut Juve's lead down to 13 points, which is cool, I guess, with a win over Spal. Atalanta is in 3rd while we wait for Inter to play, and while Milan and Roma are both on 62 points, and Torino and Lazio not far behind them. In Turkey, we've got a real title race going on, bro. This one will be settled on the final day. It has been confirmed after this past weekend's matches, and we have just 2 more matches to go in the Super League. So Besiktas have fallen off ever so slightly, though they have played 1 less match as they are playing today as well. But Galatasaray and Istanbul Başakşehir are leading the way, both on 66 points. Başakşehir defeated Ankaragusu 2-1 yesterday, while Galatasaray defeated Rizespor in a thriller 3-2. This game was insane. After taking the 1-0 lead in the first 10 minutes, Rizespor came charging back to make it 1-1 at the end of the half, and despite getting a red card in the 73rd, went on to make it 2-1 with 14 minutes remaining. In the 91st minute, Mbaye Dieng converted a penalty for Gala to make it 2-2, and in the 97th minute, Dieng headed in Feguli's cross to give Gala the 3 points and allowed them to hold on to first. Insane match. There was 12 minutes of added time in the second as a player unfortunately broke his leg. So yeah, this is how the table looks for now. And remember, Besiktas are still yet to play, so the title race could be even more wild in a few moments with just the final 2 matches remaining. Shout out Turkey, man. Spain. Nothing interesting there in the top 3 really, as this past weekend's results did nothing to the standings. I mean, Barca are champions already, so there's that obviously, but second and third are now 100% confirmed as well. Real Madrid went away to Real Sociedad and lost 3-1, partially due to having Jesus Vallejo sent off in the 39th minute. Domination from Sociedad in this one, and I'm looking forward to the wild transfer window that we'll have this summer with like United and Madrid, amongst others, going brazy in the transfer market. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch as a neutral. Atletico Madrid drew 1-1 at home with Sevilla. Sevilla, of course, are fighting to get into the top 4, which is still possible for them and will make for a stressful match next weekend. Why? They're playing against the team right behind them that is also fighting for 4th, Athletic Bilbao. So that match could be very tasty next weekend. A nice little amuse-bouche. But of course, it's completely dependent on what Valencia is capable of doing next week away to Real Valladolid. This past weekend, Valencia got a big 3-1 win over free-falling Deportivo Alavés, meaning that they jumped over both Sevilla and Getafe in the pecking order and into 4th place. And speaking of Getafe, their top 4 chances were dashed slightly with their 2-0 loss away to Barcelona this past weekend. So yeah, here's how the table looks. The top 3 are set in stone, but that 4th place spot is up for grabs and with some potential Champions League football for a team like Getafe, which could be cool, but it's probably going to be Valencia. And finally, boys, the Bundesliga had their penultimate match day over the weekend and nothing is settled quite yet, besides the 2 teams that are definitely being sent down to the second Bundesliga. Despite Hanover actually winning this past weekend, unfortunately for them, Stuttgart also got a victory, meaning that both Hanover and Nuremberg's fates are sealed in Germany's second division for next season. Stuttgart is in the relegation playoff spot, by the way. So Hanover doesn't even have a chance at the relegation playoff anymore. Eintracht Frankfurt are in some terrible form domestically as they lost 2-0 at home to FSV Mainz, meaning that Frankfurt are now winless in their last 5 Bundesliga matches and will need Bayer Leverkusen and Borussia Mönchengladbach to drop points in order for them to secure Champions League football for next season. Borussia Dortmund played at home against Fortuna Düsseldorf, a team that had beaten them previously this season, and again, it wasn't exactly comfortable. Sure, Dortmund dominated for periods, but Fortuna missed a penalty in the 58th minute that would have made it 2-2, and then in the 81st minute, Fortuna had Bodzok sent off, and 10 minutes later, Götze made it 3-1. But just a couple of minutes after that, 10-man Fortuna scored a second to make it 3-2 Dortmund as the final. God, it's got to be stressful to be a Dortmund supporter this season. Isn't it funny how when your team is just a little bit worse, or like 3rd or 4th, by a good few points or something, it's less stressful in a way? The potential of winning a title, or in this case, just missing out on a title, is a terrible feeling. Because of course, they still do have a chance at the title, as Bayern Munich went away to Leipzig and came away with a 0-0 draw. So, the table looks like this with just 1 match remaining. Bayern on top with 75 points. They play at home to Eintracht Frankfurt, who, remember, are in terrible form. Dortmund are playing away to Borussia Mönchengladbach, who have been decent, but tough to trust at times this season. You know, they've dropped a lot of points. So, who knows what could happen? This past week of football has taught us to never count anyone out. So, we'll see. But the most likely scenario is Bayern being crowned champions for the 97th season in a row. Okay, that's all from me. I'll have my Premier League predictions reaction video coming at you tomorrow so we can see how Adrian from 8 months ago did. I have faith in the guy though. You? I also have a player bio in the pipeline and more, so it should be a nice week. I'm Adrian. I love you. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you want to see me tomorrow again. Peace.